Tape Deck Media.
See you at the party, Richter!
All right, and welcome back to See You at the Party, Richter. I am one of your hosts, Joseph Beck Castro. Joining me, as always, is the Czar, Aaron Frescus.
Hello.
And a little Zaychunuk, Chris Chapman.
Da.
And just so everybody knows, that means little rabbit, female rabbit, or little female rabbit, or bunny. So you are a bunny. Today we're going to be continuing our coverage of Arnold's 1988 action buddy cop vehicle, Red Heat. Yeah, and we're just going to be getting to the summary. And Chris, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Sure. Let's talk about this movie. Let's get this over with. We open in a Russian bathhouse where lots of nude men and women are working out and bathing. We see Arnold walking through, and I am immediately blown away by his acting here, as he doesn't even glance at all these bros who desperately need a spotter or all this iron just begging to be pumped. Anyway, he meets up with some other burly Russian dudes who put a hot rock in his hand because they suspect that he's not one of them. He takes the heat for a minute and then decides, fuck it, and punches one of the dudes out of a window.
What kind of heat was it?
What kind of heat?
Like a warmish pink sort of heat, I think.
Yeah, like
stone heat.
Scarlet?
Oh, stone heat,
maybe?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like a rouge.
Yeah.
That was also Sven Thorson, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That was Sven there, I think.
Yeah, he's in this movie. But,
You know that Samoan dude?
Yes.
Or whatever that guy was.
Yeah. That decidedly not Russian dude. Like,
Yeah.
But anyway.
Funny story, right before we went to record this, we were at a bar in the Castro, which is the gay district here in San Francisco. Also happens to be my last name. But there's a movie on and had Jerry Stiller in it, and I was like asking a dude on there because he was like watching it and laughing. Like, what is that? He's like, oh, it's like Ritz. It's kind of based on this old bathhouse in New York that Bette Midler got her start in.
How old was the movie?
It was probably late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, okay. I've never seen him in anything before the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
But yeah, I guess Bette Midler got started at this like bathhouse. He's like, it was a gay bathhouse. And I was like, is there bathhouses that aren't gay? And then he's like, well, I don't know. But the kind of AIDS crisis kind of ended the whole bathhouse thing. I'm like,
Fucking
maybe that's why I
AIDS.
don't know about it. So yeah, that wasn't actually part of my notes, but that just happened right before I came in. But my one note is maybe if like gyms were like that more, I'd probably go more because like just boobs.
And Arnold butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that it was in Arnold's contract that he had the biggest titties during this opening scene?
Definitely. Absolutely. And the tightest buns.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So he punched the dude out of the window. From there, we get some extremely straight naked snow wrestling. And when Arnold wins, he interrogates good old Sven Thorson to find the location of one Victor Rosta. Cut to Moscow as we get the credits and see that Arnold is a cop, with him and his partner preparing for the operation to arrest Rosta, a drug dealer bringing cocaine into the Soviet Union.
So, two things about these opening credits. Number one, I like that the Russian-looking font that they're using. I like it. Two, I love how he's credited as Larry Fishburne.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was definitely a thing. Like he was Larry Fishburne until, I don't know, well, after this movie, but when he was like on
I'm guessing Boys in the Hood, but maybe I'm wrong.
Pee-wee's Playhouse?
When he was Cowboy Curtis, he was Larry Fishburne.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Yeah, Boys in the Hood for sure. Yes.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Probably switch over. If not
so
before that.
I actually have this on DVD, and I literally never watched it, but I've had it from the point where this DVD is, I mean, first of all, it's a DVD, so how fucking long have I had it? And two, it's one of those where it's like one side is widescreen and one side is
Yes.
full screen. But in the credits, so it was after, like, if you look at the cast and crew, Arnold, it shows his movies, and then the last one it shows is Batman and Robin. So it's before Terminator 3 and whatever came after. And then also his...
This was an early DVD then.
Yeah.
Right?
It is... its name is Lawrence, quote, Larry Fishburne. And then one other thing on the RZA's album, Bobby Digital, Method Man has a rhyme. I think that came out in 97, 98. Method Man has a rhyme that says, like, I'm like Larry, when the fish burns, I burn rubber. So that never made any sense to me until I learned that Lawrence Fishburne used to be Larry Fishburne. So that's about all I got on that.
I wonder if that DVD came out even before The Matrix.
I don't know.
Matrix was 99? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because, wait, when was... I remember watching, one of the first DVDs I watched was Saving Private Ryan. That was, like 98, I think?
That came out in 98.
That's 98? Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan, there was something before that I remember watching with your dad, Chris, at the old but I
don't know.
was like, yeah, it looks fine, I guess. I don't know. It's really loud, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's just my dad's sound system. He just liked everything super loud.
Yeah, same, whatever. But so also with those quick shots, or sorry, also with the credits, we also get a few quick shots of some pretty famous like Russian statues throughout the opening credits, including one statue near the end of the credits that's and I don't know much about Russian culture, but I'm pretty sure it's like a statue of a famous philosopher and socialist icon, Kenny Rogers. It's either I couldn't tell if it was him or R.J. McCready, Kurt Russell's character from The Thing. But then I was like, oh, if you put a cap on him, it could be Yukon Cornelius too, or like Rob Williams from when he's freed from Jumanji. I don't know. Either way, one of those. It's just like, which one? Which one?
How could you not make a Moscow on the Hudson joke there? Come on.
Moscow on the Hudson. Yeah, that's another one right there.
How could you not make that? Because that's a reference all of us would get.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a Robin Williams movie everybody's seen, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not just me because there's boobs in it. Yeah.
Can you name this movie for people that don't know? I mean, I obviously know, but what's the name of the movie?
Moscow
on the Hudson.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's Robin
Williams is a Russian guy in New York.
All right.
That's it. That's like the whole movie.
Apparently it's Karl Marx. I've never heard of him, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the Marx brothers, right?
Yes. Oh,
Comedy legends.
That makes sense. Yeah, he's he plays the straight man.
he wants to give the comedy to everybody, equal comedy for everyone.
He made sure that the jokes were dispensed amongst all the brothers.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm so glad you guys have jokes for this because
I have a lot of jokes for this.
I'm glad.
It's either jokes or pointing out why it's bad.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
By the way, Joe, just to let you only watched it once, right?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't mind it. Like Chris and I were talking before we started recording, but I didn't mind it. The second time around was a fucking slog. So I the first time I was like, this movie wasn't too bad. The second time I was like, oh my God, why is this scene in here? Oh my God. Like, which one am I pointing out? Which if I was you, I'd be like, dude, the movie wasn't that bad. Until you watch it a second time. And then you're like, ugh, you really don't want to watch this movie a second time.
God. Yeah. Taking the notes was hard for me. All right. So, from here, Arnold goes into a bar to arrest Rosta, but it quickly devolves into a shootout after Arnold insults Rosta's favorite amputee.
Which was awesome.
Arnold's partner pursues Rosta while Arnold pursues Rosta's brother.
Rosta Victor is the actor's name is Edo Ross, who I've only ever seen play a Russian, but he's actually from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's my exact note. Yeah,
that's funny.
His name's Ed O'Ross. O'Ross. I'm pretty sure it's not Russian. But what the fuck do I know? But he just definitely has a Russian look. And another joke I have is like a fake leg full of cocaine in Soviet Russia. That's how you get leg up. I was trying to make
like a yak turn up sort of thing.
Yeah, I was trying to make those through the whole movie, and that was the only one I got. So
I have one of those. I should have tried more though.
So Rosta's brother gets trapped between Arnold and some cops, and Arnold is forced to shoot him in self-defense. And then Arnold's partner gets the drop on Rosta, but Rosta kills him with a spring-loaded gun hidden up his sleeve.
And Arnold's partner is great. Like his line, "handcuffs would be a good idea," is like apparently he's possibly like incapable of maintaining any sort of inner dialogue. Like he's like, "Freeze! You are under arrest." Maybe I should bring out the handcuffs now. And like, I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, why did they include that line?
There are several lines in this movie that I find completely perplexing. Yeah,
it's like when you're playing a single player game. You know, I've been playing Terminator Resistance. Well, not at the moment because my fingers don't work. But there's so much of that. Like, like you're out there trying to hide from like Terminators and shit in a wasteland, and the dude's just like, I wonder if that's the place that Aaron's talking about. It's like, why are you saying that out loud? Like, Terminators can fucking hear you. But, like, it's a video game. You gotta have, like...
Have an inner dialogue. That's, like, the one advantage we have over these goddamn robots.
But, that, you know, it's just video game logic. So, but for some reason that applies to this guy, where he's gotta...
It was just funny.
Say it out loud.
All right. At his partner's funeral, Arnold finds out that Rosta escaped to America. Now, back in the good old USA, Rosta meets with a lieutenant of somebody named Abdul Elijah as they work out a drug deal. Rosta gives him half of a torn $100 bill, and they plan to meet later to exchange a key to a locker full of money, at which point they'll give Rosta the location of his purchased cocaine. I am so tired from writing all of that. Trying to
simplify it, but like not being able to.
Trying to simplify all the plot points is like so fucking hard. And, yeah, and then to later be like, God damn it, I don't even know why I bothered to do any of that.
I do that with Lost, the Lost one. Yeah. So where it's like, this is as simple as I can make it, and it still is too long.
Yeah. Next, we see Jim Belushi ogling a prostitute as he, his partner, and Cowboy Curtis, who threatens to fire Belushi, get ready to bust a gang called the Cleanheads, which I'm now realizing kind of sounds like a slur, so I might have to change that for the rest of my summary. All right. Anyway,
it's because they have shaved heads.
Yeah, totally. It just sounds like a slur. Is all I'm saying. One of which turns out to be the same guy that Rosta met with earlier.
Like it's not the actual gang's name.
Yeah.
That's what I only said it because Belushi makes plenty of racist comments throughout this. Yeah. So it's like it's just like some sort of racist like thing that his character came up with. He's like, clean it, because he's not clever. So it's like exactly. He's like, clean heads. So you're like, what is that?
Anyway. He's like, it'll catch on. It'll catch on. So the cops then bust into the gang member's apartment and arrest two guys, but Belushi finds a third guy with a shotgun and almost gets everyone killed, but the shotgun guy runs. The cops split up, and Belushi gets the drop on Shotgun Man as he is about to shoot the other two cops. And I just want to point out that, like, I don't know, Belushi blows that door open and doesn't warn anybody, and everybody is right in the path of where bullets would come through if somebody was on the other side of that door. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's a terrible cop. But
yeah,
speaking of plot points where we're like questionable about stuff, I thought Larry / Lawrence Fishburne was like a member of the Nation of Islam. Like, he's got the glasses, like the Malcolm X glasses. He's not wearing a bow tie, but he's wearing a suit the whole time. I honestly thought he was supposed to be a Nation of Islam guy, and it's just, like, never brought up.
Between him and Abdul Elijah, that's just, like, two different versions of Malcolm X, it seems like. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that was going to go somewhere, but I possibly gave this too much credit.
I thought he was going to, like, betray them in some way.
Exactly. I thought either him or Peter Boyle was going to.
And then it just seems like we were supposed to hate him because Jim Belushi doesn't like him. And I'm like, no, I dislike Jim Belushi a lot more than I dislike Lawrence Fishburne. So, yeah.
Yeah, loose cannon cops in the 80s are supposed to be, like, fun.
Yeah.
But, like, you're Mel Gibson in, like, Lethal Weapon. I mean, if you look at it objectively with... like as a citizen, like you're like, wow, these guys are fucking horrible. Yeah. Like, but like in a movie sense, you're gonna be like, you know what? he's a little unorthodox. He's a bit of a loose cannon, but he gets the job done. Because they're like entertaining, but like Jim Belushi has none of that. Like he's just
also he doesn't get the job done a lot of the time.
Yeah, he sucks at his job. Like not just like getting the job done, but also like going by protocol.
Yeah,
he tries to be funny, but he's not, and there's nothing worse than that, as my friends can attest to. For me, and like I don't know, he's cheap, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he just sucks. Like we'll see later in the movie, he just sucks at several points. Let's see. We see Rosta waiting to meet the gang members, but they don't show, so he takes his key and leaves. All right, so back in Russia, Arnold is informed that he is being sent to Chicago to bring home Rosta, who was arrested for a minor crime, and that he's not to reveal any details of the case to avoid embarrassment for the party.
There's a lot of ego involved in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of pointless politics.
Yeah.
Belushi and his partner Gallagher pick up Arnold when he arrives in Chicago and give him a ride, a long way discovering that the Russian Arnold is not much of a conversationalist.
So he also introduces himself. So this was the first time I noticed Arnold's name, which is Ivan Danko.
Yeah.
Which just sounds like the name from like some pothead themed Rocky parody. Like, like the antagonist who kills former hotboxing champion Apollo Weed with only one hit. Just sounds like, Ivan Danko. I was trying to think of more like Rocky lines. You will booze. That's the only one I could think of. If he
I must
fries.
bake you.
I must if he fries, he fries. That's like I couldn't think of a name for the parody though. I was like Rocky, nothing rhymes with that. I was like Toki.
I was trying to figure out anything like Rocky or Balboa. Or...
Yeah, no, nothing. I spent way too long. Part of the reason again why I'm not completely prepared was spending too much time on jokes like this stupid shit. Where I'm like spending over an hour.
Sticky Mickey?
Yeah, I don't know. Sparky Balblaze it.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It's probably as close as you're going to get. Yeah.
But yeah, Ivan Danko is the brother of famed San Francisco restaurateur and chef Gary Danko. It's not really funny, but that's the only other Danko I know. So
nice.
When he was driving, I noticed, like, I never, until I watched this movie, I never realized how much a Russian accent sounds exactly like an Austrian accent. I was like, oh.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, they are pretty similar.
It's crazy. You just roll the R's in an Austrian accent, and all of a sudden it's Russian. That's crazy. So Arnold requests to be taken to the seedy motel where Rosta was staying and asks for the same room. The next morning, Arnold is taken to the police station to meet Chief Peter Boyle, and Belushi is assigned to escort Arnold until he leaves for the airport with his prisoner.
So Frank Barone tells Arnold that it's just strange how the plot jumps forward to Victor Rosta already having been arrested without bothering to show it, because that's what the police chief or captain or whatever, or commander, I think. But because both times I've watched this, I felt like I missed a scene.
Yeah.
And
it just all happens off screen.
Exactly. And I think it was a choice between, like, for the writers, between, like, should we include the arrest scene or should we include Peter Boyle's fish tank speech? I think they made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Clearly.
Yeah. Because again, it's stuff that we're like, what? It's not funny. It's just something to fill up time. I don't know.
I think weird. The tone of this movie is confused because they want it to be funny, but then they also want it to be kind of grounded. And like, I don't know. Like, I see a version of that where the police chief is like way overstressed and way more like, God, what's the movie?
McBain. In this department, we go by the book.
No, I'm thinking of another like.
Are you thinking of a specific movie?
I'm thinking of a specific live action like spoof movie.
Like the only one I could think of was Last Action Hero, where I
think it's
where he's just yelling, but he's like it ends up turning into gibberish when he's yelling at him.
Yeah. I think if you want it to be funny, you can go one of two ways. You can go Last Action Hero, or you can go like So I Married an Axe Murderer, where the chick is like overly caring.
No,
Alan Arkin.
Yeah, Alan Arkin. Yeah, where that was great because he's like when they introduce him, he's like pretending to be a hard ass, and then he's like, "Was that too much?" Or
yeah, yeah.
I was thinking of the coach in Not Another Teen Movie.
I haven't seen that.
Wait, I have seen that, but isn't
no, the coach is just like he's like, "Get on the plane, god damn it, god damn it!" Like he just says, and then he gets pissed off at a player and he grabs him and he like breaks his back over his knee and throws him aside. Yeah, that's sort of like just
like over
exaggerated.
The top.
Yeah. But like I said, they're trying to keep this movie more realistic, so it just doesn't quite fit this weird thing that he's doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. So Arnold goes to pick up Rosta and cuffs himself to the prisoner. As Rosta's belongings are being sorted, Arnold questions him about the locker key that he has, but Rosta won't cooperate.
So I didn't really mind Jim Belushi's character during the first watch, but man, like he was pretty fucking insufferable during the second one, which I realized right around this scene when Arnold has Belushi ask Victor what the key is for, and he does that kind of slow talking, over enunciating each word bullshit that assholes do to people who speak a different language. Because he's like, "Do you know where?" I'm like, by the way, do you guys have any idea if that's an American thing or is it something that like assholes in every country do? Because I that was just a thought that popped in my head as I was watching this.
I mean, I've only ever seen American people do it in movies and TV, but I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, but with my Spanish, if somebody said stuff, not the over enunciation, but the slow stuff, it might help out. So I don't know, maybe the assholes are on or something.
Well, like slower is good. It's just the louder part that's probably not good. That he's yelling in his face. Like,
it's like very condescending.
Yeah,
the condescension. Yeah, that's probably not helpful.
Especially when they know he speaks English. Like they're not stupid. Like he did pretend to stop speaking English, but when they first pulled him over, they said he was speaking English.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, we might have known that if they would have showed it, but whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, we might talk about this later, but I feel like Belushi is giving a perfectly fine performance. I just wish they had written any of these characters as like likable or having any charisma. Yeah,
exactly. You can't do that with Belushi's character if you're going to have Arnold's character be the complete straight man. Like not a straight man like True Lies straight man, because he basically is a straight man to Tom Arnold. But like complete. And it's if you're going to have that, you need to have Belushi's character be charming as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
I think they assumed that Belushi was the funny one, but it turns out Arnold is much funnier than Belushi.
Yeah.
But it's not like Belushi had good jokes. But they also managed to like neuter what makes Arnold great, which is just straight charisma.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like obviously like Terminator, like the first one, he is not charismatic in that, but he's scary as fuck, and that was like the purpose of that. But basically movies leading up to this, raw deal, say whatever you want to say about it, but Predator, fucking Running Man, Commando, like he's just charismatic as fuck, and they just kind of eliminated that from him in this movie.
But I was going to say, like, this movie is probably more forgettable than Raw Deal. At least Raw Deal was to me, I didn't have to rewind so much with this movie. But anyway.
Okay, Belushi is about to head back to the station when the gang members and Rosta's Russian friends show up disguised as security guards. They club Arnold, shoot Gallagher, and cut Rosta free. Rosta grabs the key from Arnold, but then Arnold knocks it onto the floor, and before anybody can grab it, Belushi comes back around the corner and starts shooting. He forces the criminals to flee, and Arnold crawls over and grabs the key before passing out from his multiple concussions.
In the most dramatic way possible.
Yeah, they spend a long time on him crawling on the floor.
Yes, which is like I thought there's no one around him either. Yeah. Everyone's gone. He's there. Probably by himself. And he just trying to get to the key before he passes out.
He's not reaching for a fumble or something. There's not going to be 21 other dudes trying to jump on it.
Yeah, there's no one around him. It was just weird because it was like, wait, why? The scene's over. Why are you spending so much time with this shot and so dramatically?
And then he immediately passes out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so we're kind of expected to believe that he's going to keep his fist clenched through his unconsciousness.
And we do because...
for an entire day. I mean, he does, but like, that doesn't make any sense. All right. We then go to the hospital where we find out Gallagher died.
So you think they just replaced Gallagher with his brother and like no one really noticed?
I was gonna say, they smashed Gallagher's head over like a watermelon, or he was blown open like a watermelon, or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah, okay, that's
it'd be great if a watermelon was the one that shot Gallagher.
It was Steve Watermelon, that
Yeah.
motherfucker. He got his revenge.
Gallagher 2 came back for revenge.
The Russian's name was Volta Melon.
Stupid. It's just
All right. We're hitting up all the. We got some Yakov Smirnoff jokes. We got some Gallagher things going on. We're hitting all like we're gonna throw in some Andrew Dice Clay later. Dice Man. I hope you like 80s fucking not even proud like, gimmick comics.
I hope you like shit that hasn't aged well, because that's what this movie is.
Yeah, definitely gimmicky shit.
Oh, some Russian ambassadors come and question Arnold and then tell him he is to return to Russia in shame.
He also still has that key in his hand.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he has the key.
He wakes up, unclenches his fist for the first time in presumably 12 hours, and then he still has the key.
Which is great because they got him undressed. I was like, just see again. A scene I want to see is them trying to like, but what? His hand won't stop unclenching. Like, just give it up. There's no way. Like this man is just too strong. Have you seen the size of those titties?
Arnold decides he is going to continue the investigation himself and go find Rosta. So at this point, Morpheus assigns Belushi to babysit Arnold while he investigates, and Chief Peter Boyle lets Arnold investigate, but only because Arnold can break the rules and it technically won't be the Chief's fault. And that's a dumb plan.
To start, like, Belushi tells Arnold that he looks like Gumby.
I think just because it's the color of his suit.
Yes, but unless they completely color graded the movie, his suit looks blue to me, not green.
I mean, I saw like the tealish color.
I was just thinking maybe Jim Belushi's actually colorblind and ad-libbed that scene, but couldn't figure out why the joke kept falling flat on set because no one had the heart to tell him that Arnold's suit was blue, so they just kept kind of awkwardly laughing, like, "Yeah, good one, Jim."
My knowledge of Gumby is pretty low. I thought he was called I thought maybe Gumby was like considered giant in his world. You know,
Just
who's like
super
Gumby's
jacked.
friend, the little red guy? Like, you know, maybe
The horse?
Yeah. Okay, a horse.
Pokey.
And then there's the blockheads.
I don't remember them.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
So quick side note, very dumb story. Like, so there's this old Eazy song. It's like, well, I'm Eazy, I got bitches galore. You might have a lot of bitches, but I got much more. Anyways, my brother and I were really in that song, and then our other little brother like was watching Gumby, and they walk in the thing, and the blockheads are the bad guys, and they're like, they walk in and like, wow, computers galore. So we always used to go like, well, we're the blockheads. We got computers galore. You might have a lot of computers, but I got much more. That's my knowledge of Gumby. So I thought maybe he was calling him Gumby because Gumby was just like he's pretty fucking solid, dude.
He's
like
tall.
yeah. Like I just thought he was just like Gumby was just like a giant in the claymation world that he fucking the Gumby world that he lives in. That's what I thought he was trying to say. I didn't realize because his suit was allegedly green.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
So you're kind of blowing my fucking mind right now.
Either that or Gumby was actually Russian.
That'd be great.
Gumby.
You thought Gumby was a socialist?
Not even Russian, just a socialist. You mentioned Peter Boyle explaining or saying that. What do you say that?
Basically, he said like Arnold can break the rules, but if anything goes wrong, it will be
right.
like the department's fault. So
first of all, they're back at the police station. So unless there's an eventual payoff, they don't remember. This is yet again another example of a weird transition between scenes because Arnold just told Belushi to take him to his hotel, but instead of doing that, we go to Belushi explaining to Peter Boyle that they did that and then came to the station. Why even include the line about Arnold wanting to go to the hotel? Just for the taxi joke, which was, do I look like a taxi to you? Yes. Like, that's it. There's no other fucking reason to include that line.
Also,
Just-
can't you still have that line if he just takes him to the police station?
Yes, exactly. It was just weird. And then, is this when Lawrence Fishburne's talking to him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mention him here.
Okay,
but yeah.
cool. So, like, he listed off the crimes, right?
Lawrence Fishburne comes in and basically says, "Oh, we got some more information about Rosta," and then
So Lawrence Fishburne ends up reading off the list of crimes that Victor Rosta is wanted for, and then crumples up a piece of paper and throws it on the ground. And Peter Boyle does not say a fucking
in
word.
his boss's office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you cannot tell me that I was like, oh, maybe he threw it in the trash can, because if he did toss it into the trash can and he got it in the trash can, he would have done a celebratory, like, yes, like that you do when you make it in the trash can.
Yeah, I mean, this was pre-Kobe, but like, I don't know. Maybe you're like Drexler or some shit. I don't know.
I don't know. Who's
Magic.
the best basketball player?
Yeah.
There you go.
Abdul-Jabbar. Probably Abdul-Jabbar, because he is dressed
Yeah,
like
that's
a fucking Nation of Islam.
So Lawrence Fishburne also asked Peter Boyle why, like Chris said, they would let Danko stay and find Rasta, and Boyle basically says that Danko is perfect because he'll get rid of Victor, and if he screws up, it's not their problem. Is basically what he says, right?
Yeah, essentially.
I get that part, but then Larry Fish asks Belushi about Belushi, and Boyle tells him that Belushi is a good cop, but basically a complete fuck up. And quote, departmentally speaking, I got no downsides here. And that like I said, like you were saying, I don't fucking understand. Because so is it that Peter Boyle wants to fire him and he knows that Belushi will fuck things up so he can fire him, or
Yes.
that line didn't make
or does it mean like Belushi's an anchor, therefore like Danko can't cause that much trouble because he's got Belushi on his ass? I don't understand at all what he means by that.
Exactly. Like I kept rewinding. I'm like, wait, what am I not getting here?
Or that no matter what happens, it'll be Danko's fault because Belushi is a quote-unquote good cop. I mean, we've seen he's not, but he's a quote-unquote good cop. So like, like any bad things that happen, like as we see later with the broken finger scene, be like, like you guys thing jammed in the door, or like Danko did it, or whatever, or Arnold did it, like so maybe that I tend to read way too much into this stuff. I've had several like rants about the general theme of these movies when I'm fucking around. So I'm probably definitely reading too much into this. So
just also speaking of payoffs, there's no payoff to this plot point except that later in the movie Peter Boyle goes, "I was wrong."
Yeah, yes.
Like that's essentially how this plot point ends.
So there is actually a payoff then, because I was like, there's no fucking payoff. Like, but this movie was extremely hard to follow because I kept realizing I wasn't paying attention to what's going on. And like I told Chris, I kept having to rewind it because I was like, wait, what did they just say?
I mean, to be fair, like, was there any point to Vince Vega telling Jules about Royale with cheese?
No, but it was entertaining.
That's entertaining though. Like, the dialogue is compelling to where you're like, oh yeah, that does that. Okay, that's kind of funny. Yeah. Like
that's like a flex to talk about pointless things and have it still be entertaining. Except this movie can't flex because it doesn't know how to.
That's true. I guess we're mad flexing when we talk about movies, because
when they try, like, there's examples of them trying, like the parakeet thing that they end up talking about later. It just kind of the stuff, it leads nowhere. Which
the parakeet thing has, I mean, at least for the alarm. It's
no. I'm talking about when they're like, is it gay? Like pretty much saying like, what is that, gay? Like later, like it's just like,
like the weird thing where he thinks it's implied that he's feminine. I don't know.
Yeah, which is, I get it. It's just not written correctly to where it would be funny, I guess, like, or funny enough to not get rid of.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So a few things. A, I just love playing devil's advocate. So most of the shit I say, I don't believe it. But B, it's a little bit of character building. That's kind of when like Arnold
for sure
opens up a little bit.
Yeah.
But C, I'm wondering, and we will have to possibly talk to a Russian. But speaking of guys who aren't Russian playing Russians, what's his fucking name? Mickey Rourke. In Iron Man 2, like he also plays a Russian, and he's also really about his bird. So I'm wondering if birds are the dogs of Russia. I don't know.
By the way, what's your guys' time at as far as the recording? Sorry, mine's at 22, and I realized I'm like, oh, we're doing pretty good on time. And then I was like, oh wait,
No,
mine's not even close.
That's a half hour off.
So
Or
it's at 50.
52 for me.
Okay. So
I'm at
okay,
159,
Beats per minute.
1597 bars.
cool. Okay, go ahead.
It's at a tempo of 120.
Sorry, I meant to keep us. I meant to keep us rushing through this, but I know it wasn't going to happen.
All right.
I mean, so be it. Like it is what it is. Damn, we should have saved that. All right, let's save those jokes and fucking add them somewhere else.
That's going in. I had that joke down somewhere. I was just like,
So first in the investigation, Arnold and Belushi go interrogate the same snitch who told them where to find the drug dealing gang members.
that's the pimp, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He tells them that Abdul Elijah is running his whole operation from jail. So they head there to see if Abdul Elijah will tell them where Rosta is.
Arnold's line of, I don't want to touch his ass, I want to make him talk. See, like you get every now and then you get like little glimpses of the Arnold character that we should be getting during this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they kind of took like the basis of like Terminator, like from Terminator 1, you know, where he like goes to things like "fuck you, asshole," and what we saw done much better in Terminator 2, like especially when he's grabbing the guy by the hair and John Connor's like, "No, stop." He's like, "This does not help our mission." You know, that kind of dry, deadpan humor. They took just a smidge of that and like did just a little bit of it with that. And there's later on when he's like, "Are you shitting me?" He's like, "No, I am not shitting on you."
Yeah.
So they're like, if they would have amped that up like a little more, like maybe if they had somebody like actually funny write the script, like
Yeah.
it'd have been a lot better.
Or even just let him play it out a little bit more. Let him get angry. Like that's the one thing he doesn't even get angry in this movie except for like one part at the very end where he's kind of screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like he is clearly super pissed off and it's super personal for him, but he is so emotionless through this entire thing. It just doesn't play right.
And also, I'm gonna start saying, "I swear on my balls," like that pimp did when Arnold has his arm behind. He's like, "I swear on my balls." That I'm like, "Oh man, that is good." I'm gonna start saying that. I swear on my balls.
That is good. So they go to jail. Arnold talks to Elijah, but Elijah won't give up Rosta. He does, however, promise to arrange a meeting between Arnold and Rosta so that something can be worked out and he can get his money.
Elijah is by far the most charismatic motherfucker in this movie.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
And
Easily the most entertaining scene.
yeah, and Arnold's like, "I'll cut off your balls and put them in a jar." He's like,
Yeah.
you know, I have no need for that. And he's
It's
like,
like, I'm a holy man. What
Yeah.
use do I got for testicles?
yeah. And he's like, "I'll take your eyes." He's like, "Shit, homie, I'm already blind."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
he's
was a badass scene. He picks up his glasses and his eyes are all fucking milky and shit. Yeah.
yeah. No, that was with Arnold and fucking Larry Fishburne. Like that guy was
That little
by far-
monologue he gave is probably the best like writing in the whole movie too.
Yeah, definitely had the most charisma.
Like I would almost I don't know if you got this in your notes. I would almost wonder if he wrote that monologue himself.
I was thinking about that because it's very all the writers are white guys.
Yeah.
If it was written by one of them, it was probably hopefully helped. I would assume.
Yeah. God, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly like with the sequel Red Dawn, which doesn't even seem like relevant to this movie. I don't know. Like I wanted to see like the sequel to this one to be about Elijah, or even like the third one, Red, with like Bruce Willis and shit. Like that, I don't know what that had to do with this
That was a
either.
good
But
one.
like I wanted to see like what happened
see,
after.
You're misunderstanding. That's actually a prequel.
Oh,
Because Red Heat, Red Dawn.
that makes sense. But like even. I don't know what they had to do with it, but I thought they would be like what happens when Arnold gets back to Russia. That would be like the sequel, but instead it's about a bunch of fucking kids in like Ohio or something. Gotta fight right. I don't know. Man, movies are weird these days.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, so next, Arnold and Belushi are on their way to go visit Gina Gershon because she visited Rosta in prison.
The actress. They're
Yes,
visiting
exactly.
actress Gina Gershon.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going next? We're going to go visit actress Gina Gershon. You know her? That's awesome. Okay, sorry.
Like she was a thing in the late 80s? I had no idea.
So they go visit her. They find out that she married Rosta so that he could get his travel visa. And then while he was in jail, she was sent to his hotel room to grab his passport and the other half of that $100 bill from earlier that he needs for like the drug deal.
So did they already mention that he needs that for the drug deal?
They did. Again, that was in my little spiel earlier about trying to condense the entire plot down into like 3 sentences. But basically, he tore a $100 bill in half. He gave half to one of the clean head dudes, and they both need to present them to finish the drug deal. Arnold then decides that they're going to stake out Gershon so that she can lead them to Rosta. Arnold mingles with the locals.
Yeah, no, 2 things about this. One, I don't know why in these movies, like, just fucking randos want to just fuck with 6'2", 250-pound.
Oh, yeah.
With the most square-jawed individual that they've ever seen.
Like tree trunk of a man, like Arnold, just like, hey, man. He's like, the guy's like 5'8", 160, and he's like, I got a baseball bat. It's like, look at this fucking guy, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit him with a baseball bat, you're gonna hurt your hand. You better have like batting gloves. Like, if anybody's played baseball and they like hit, and he hit the ball wrong, that fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine that's what hitting Arnold's like. But
on
also,
top of that, he shows no fear when the guy's threatening him. Like no hesitate, like nothing. You're like, okay, this guy might be kind of crazy, but I'm just invested in it. I might as well keep going.
Yeah, just because I want this parking spot. Like, dude.
Also, they cut out to a slightly wider shot. There is so much room in front of and behind that car on the curb for him to park.
That's why I called him. That's why I labeled him. He just seems like a mugger. Like I think he's just mugging him, right? Or he's just shaking him down for $50. That's his in front of his place, right?
Yes, he says he lives up there. That's his spot. He says you either got to move, cough up $50, or I'm going to smash your car.
Yeah.
So I guess he's just trying to shake him down.
Yeah, but also okay. So if you're trying to shake somebody down, you'd be like, "Hey, mother." All right, you're cool, man. Like, let me just roll to like this fucking person. Oh shit! Like literally anybody else.
On top of that, wearing a uniform, like some sort of like military uniform.
Yeah. Also, when they're staking out, Jim Belushi talks about beating off a lot, and that's so immature. Like, be a professional, man. Like, you don't see us talking about that.
That's true.
Like, and we're a comedy podcast. No. Like, that's just so childish.
Truly.
It was also an odd choice to keep the bruise on Arnold's face for the rest of the film. Like, it is in such a distracting place.
Yeah.
For me, it was just weird because usually, like any other movie, it would be on there or it wouldn't be as like prominent. And it kind of like it's weird because it kind of looks like he was like kissed by a lipstick wearing giant or something like that. It's just like this mark across his face that looks like lipstick.
Let's see. So Arnold mingles with the locals while Belushi grabs some food. When Gershon gets into a taxi, Arnold and Belushi follow at the expense of Belushi's reproductive health. He spills coffee on his balls.
Belushi and Arnold sort of have like a quick conversation about socialism, which basically ends with Arnold saying that China got rid of their drug dealers with a mass...
By shooting them all in the head.
Mass public execution.
Yeah.
And Belushi points out that the politicians would never go for it in America, and Arnold's like, shoot them first. So... It was just an interesting approach to the whole fish out of water trope that they're doing because they still have his character misunderstanding like seemingly everyday situations. But usually when the foreign character reminisces about his home country, it's because like he misses the food or his friends and family, not the unregulated use of police brutality. So like, he's like, I just really miss that way I can harass whoever I wanted at home. I don't know. It reminded me of that old Yakov Smirnoff joke, where he's like, in America, you film corrupt police, but in Mother Russia, corrupt police film you being shot in back of head while family watches. Like, that Yakov could turn a joke.
Jesus. Yeah, man. It was just the 80s. Everybody thought drug dealers deserved to die. That's just like, it's open and shut case, I guess.
Fucking Reagan 80s and... I don't want to get too deep into it, but the war on drugs is a fucking disaster. And
yeah, you would do well to not pay attention to any of the politics in this movie because they fucking suck.
Yeah, and it's just like
and they are so without nuance. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like Belushi's just like like casually like police should be able to do that, and like drug dealers and drug users are terrible.
He was like, I would love to shoot a bunch of people in the back of the head, but the politicians won't go for it.
Yeah, and then shoot the politicians. Yeah, and then, like it's not just drug dealers, like drug users too. Like that's a fucking
my god.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Belushi might have been kind of more liberal leaning before this movie, and he was like, you know what, you could make a good point here?
I would agree with you, except like one of the only things he's kind of liberal about is he loves weed.
Oh, does he?
Like, yeah, he's super heavy into weed.
One last thing.
Yep.
Fuck Ronald Reagan. I'll be rotten in hell. Piece of shit.
Yes, definitely. So. From this point, they follow the taxi into a parking garage where they are ambushed by heavily armed gang members. Arnold makes Belushi pocket the key, then goes to talk to Rosta in private as a gun is held to Belushi's head.
You know what? I will say that Belushi really nailed that racist cop stereotype, but if you're going to have your character say something fucking blatantly racist, at least try to write some clever dialogue for it. Because his pro basketball team, I suppose the pro basketball team thing, because that's what he says. He's like, oh, we got a pro basketball team coming at us, because it's a bunch of fucking black dudes that are coming at them. It does sound like the type of tired ass joke that a racial insensitive cop would make. So I guess that's going for authenticity. I don't know. It's just I don't know. The character already was annoying me, and then I just they just start piling on to make him seem like a piece of shit.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they were lined up. I think it's like, oh, he's a center, power forward, small forward.
Yeah, or they had that song going on.
Yeah, they weren't all incredibly tall. It was just, it seemed like just the basketball team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because they're black.
Yeah,
it's
just, I don't know. It's like a real life fucking.
Yeah. I would complain about the lazy writing, but if we stopped to complain about the lazy writing every time there's ladies writing, this podcast would never end. So
Arnold did give the key to Victor during their meeting.
Nope.
No, didn't give him the key.
Belushi.
Okay, so any idea what the point of the little exchange between Arnold and Victor was? Because
that's my literal next note, is that Arnold and Rosta now have a completely pointless conversation where Rosta tries to bribe Arnold, but Arnold of course refuses, and then nothing happens. They just leave. I'm honestly asking because I was looking forward to watching this movie before we watched it, and so I really wanted to like this movie, and I wanted it to be good as I'm going in there. But on my second watch, I just started noticing more and more scenes that could have been fucking cut. There was no I don't know in what world you thought that cop was going to go for bribery. Yeah, they've already made him seem like such a hard ass by the book And what the fuck is Arnold's plan? Does Arnold think he's going to convince Rosta to turn himself in? Because what the fuck are you? That's even dumber. I just didn't get it was just okay,
okay. So I think at that point it was, they didn't have a choice. Victor wanted to talk to Arnold to try and corrupt him. And that was unsuccessful because Arnold is the consummate good guy. But the real problem with the scene is, they're speaking English 90% of the time. They're two Russian dudes.
That's true.
Why the fuck are they talking English?
He speaks a tiny bit of Russian at the very beginning, and then they switch over to English.
They want to practice. They're in America. They want to practice their English.
That's true.
And they know that they know that the other person's not going to judge them for any mistakes that they make because, they're like, oh, you're learning. No, keep going. You're learning.
Fair enough.
Very true.
But
all right.
As far as getting rid of stuff, I guess you can get rid of a whole chunk with Gina Gershon too. So
yeah, again, I'll say it later, but I don't know why she's.
The movie's a little over a tight 90. It's a tight 106.
It's an hour 45.
Yeah, they start cutting shit, and it's it's an episode of TV.
So Arnold and a very pissed off Belushi go back to the hospital to talk to the Russian that Belushi shot. But right as they get there, the Russian is assassinated by another Russian dude dressed like a lady nurse.
Okay. My only note here was I have no idea who the dude is that they're visiting the hospital, but I got it now. So, when I was watching even the second time, I was like, who is this dude? And okay, yeah, okay. Anyway,
And also the person who was driving Gina Gershon was the...
Yeah, it was Victor's assistant, yeah.
So Arnold and Belushi chase after the nurse. Belushi gets a clean shot, but then Gershon steps in the way for some reason. For no fucking apparent reason. Giving the nurse enough time to pull his gun and graze Belushi with a bullet. But then Arnold shows up and shoots the nurse through several panes of glass.
And I like Belushi's line at the end when he's looking over the shot up nurse / Victor's assistant, because he's like, what the hell? He's a guy. But he says it in such like a disappointed way, which was strange because I couldn't tell if he meant it in like what the hell? He's a guy and I only like shooting women sort of way. or like what the hell? He's a guy and I hit on him. I better proposition the next woman I see so Danko doesn't think I'm gay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the latter. A lot of I mean, as much as I love Ace Ventura, like going back and watching that is just like, oh, like that's so transphobic.
I love the idea that the entire time they were chasing that nurse, Belushi was trying to like hide his heart on. Like just desperately like, oh God, I hope nobody knows that I have a boner for this lady that just killed somebody.
He's still like yelling at Arnold, don't shoot her.
I have a chance.
You killed the love of my life.
I've never worked in a hospital. I've worked in healthcare and various other places, but I just can't imagine like a nurse walking into a place and then immediately treating a patient and they were just like, yeah, whatever. Like, cool. Like, yeah, inject them with stuff. Like, yeah, like, whatever. Like, no one's just like, who the fuck is this chick? Like,
yeah, especially since he's probably the tallest nurse in the entire hospital.
It's like in The Dark Knight when Heath Ledger's walking around the hospital and then he like, in his full makeup, but he's got the mask on, and he walks into the room with fucking Two-Face Aaron Eckhart, and like Aaron Eckhart looks at him, but he doesn't recognize him until he pulls the mask down.
Yeah, the way it's edited, like, it's hilarious because it looks like he has no idea it's the Joker. And then he pulls the mask off and he flips out.
It's like, oh my God, you! It was like, whoa, how did you? The guy's wearing paint on his face. But
yeah, I mean, good thing.
You didn't notice the heavy eye makeup that he had on?
Yeah, good thing fucking Two-Face didn't survive to COVID because he would have been like, oh my God, who are you? It's like, dude, I'm your wife. Like, kick back. I'm just wearing a fucking mask.
Complete face blindness.
Yeah. It's like, well, he was the district attorney too, and he's just like the judge and everything. Yeah. He's like, who are you? Get out of the courtroom. It's like, dude, I'm the fucking judge.
All right, and that's going to do it for part 1 of our Red Heat summary. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be out in just a couple of days. Until then, reviews always help us out, so if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, be sure to take a second to let us know how we're doing. Otherwise, I suppose we'll
see you at the party, Richter.
If you enjoy our show, please consider giving us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Potty Richter to make sure you never miss an episode. See You at the Potty Richter is a production of Tape Deck Media. Follow Tape Deck on Instagram at tapedeck_media or look us up on Facebook for more hilarious podcasts.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.